Well, welcome back once more to M20, and this, of course, a summit that's taking place here in Melrose Arch at the venue behind me, and we're seeing all the people who will be participating in the various discussions trickling in. But we've had some discussions already and many more to be had around the key themes for the next 2 days. But I'm joined now by Mr. Churchill Otieno. He's the president of the African Editors Forum. Thanks so much for speaking to us, Mr. Otieno. And just firstly, being here, M20 Inaugural Summit, what does that mean for you and, of course, for editors across the continent?
This could not have happened at a more opportune time. We live in a world today where many people, many forces think they are entitled to their own truths. Yet we in journalism know that there can only be one version of truths. So in that struggle, it's a chance for the media to come together and reflect on what opportunities exist for us to innovate and creatively respond to this new reality, to make sure that our audiences, in spite of everything, every other versions of truths and code that they're getting, they still find ways, accessible ways to get a truth that can help in the development of their own affairs.
And of course, that task becomes slightly more difficult when you're up against the upper echelons in society, the most powerful entities in society, who, as you say, sometimes would want to craft their own narratives and their own truths. So how do you bridge that gap?
A key benefit of the digital technologies that we have today is that information flows a lot more quickly. And that has enabled many more voices to be part of the conversation, which is a good thing. But it comes at a cost that we in media, we in journalism must help carry, which is how do we then help the citizen to get to the right truth that connects and is verifiable to their own aspirations. It forces us to find innovative ways to tell those stories, tell them quickly, and get those stories much faster to the people who need to know about them. Secondly, we just have to up our games. As those forces find new ways to try and shut us down, we must also find new ways to make sure that our voice is better amplified and can be heard by the people.
So if we speak about media freedom on the African continent, and we know many, if not all, nations have enshrined in their various constitutions media freedom as a cornerstone of what drives society. But then in practice, for many African states especially, that seems to fall short, where you have governments who would curtail media freedom under the guise sometimes of national security. So again, how do you navigate that terrain in a way that still makes media freedom viable and the media able to tell the story?
It feels and sometimes looks like a new problem. But when you think about it keenly, it's not entirely new. We look back into history and we find many instances when big power has clashed with any efforts to make the people more aware. Be it about programs to make the people more literate, be it about programs to make the printed word reach more people in history. We always found that power always clashed with those who are working to make the people more informed. It is our time now. It presents in ways that speak to today's world, but at the core, it is not new. What do we do about it? We must organize better as those who believe in truthful information in society. We just must organize better. It's not an easy task, but I believe that we have enough people who are committed to those values. Platforms such as the M20 is a chance for us to get together, to reflect on what's working and find ways to do more of what's working, and also reflect on what's not working and find ways to creatively innovate around those that are not working, the challenges that we have to confront.
And it's not an easy task. If you think about it, the African Commission, for example, has resolutions on access to information, on the protection and freedoms that journalists enjoy or should enjoy on the continent. But if you look at how things actually play out in practice, would you say that that's just lip service that is being paid? If governments are not going to adhere to these resolutions of the African Commission, what's the point?
The first thing we must do is to make the people aware of these resolutions. Let the people truly own those resolutions. And when that happens, they'll help us put pressure on these governments to then align and deliver and implement the resolutions. When it comes to making the people aware, it's a much broader question. It's a question of how do we ensure media literacy in our spaces, and how do these resolutions then connect with that reality of media literacy. When you read the letter of the resolutions and the spirit of the resolutions, the person at the core really is not the journalist. The person at the core is a citizen. Yeah, so I think we have a chance, we have an opportunity to help the citizens see their role, see their place, see the benefits that these resolutions bring to them. And that way, we'll empower that citizen to help us get their leaders to deliver and to implement these resolutions.
So just a final question. The M20, of course, seen as a platform for global solidarity amongst media. But how can this global platform assist Africa and African media in particular to help amplify their voice?
Africa is a unique place, and therefore African media is also unique. What will help us has to be created by ourselves, has to be created at home, has to be homegrown. It's only when we define that we can then find allies from elsewhere to help us realize it. The M20 is a chance for us to reflect on what then is working. What is working in Kenya? What is working in Nigeria? What is working in Egypt? What is happening in South Africa? And how can more of Africa adapt, align, learn from these things that are working? And through that then we find new partners, hopefully in the G20, to help us then deliver this. It is going to be a long journey. It's going to take a lot of work, but we are ready for it and we must do it.
Well, thank you so much for your time. So again, another glimpse of some of the discussions that will be had here. And of course, these will be fleshed out in the various committees and that will be had, the discussions that people will be participating in. But that is, of course, what's to be coming through over the next 2 days here at the M20. Mr. Churchill Otieno is the president of the African Editors Forum. And once again, pioneering their African solutions for African problems, of course, with the solidarity of the rest of the world. Right, we're going to take a break, and of course, your sports with me after that.